It is 7 o'clock on Monday, January 10th of 2022. And I'm going to call to order the Albany Arts Committee meeting for this evening. And we will begin with Keenan, if you could do the land acknowledgement and then roll call. That would be great.
Yeah, we're actually going to do a roll call first, and then I'll do the land of acknowledgement. So for roll call, Chair Gatch?
Here.
Member Black? Here. Member Brickman?
Here we go. Yeah, here.
Well, all right. Member Goodman? See if he joins us in a little bit. Member Samatsky?
Here.
And Member Raxel?
Yes, I'm here.
And I'll go back, and Member Black, I believe, is here as well.
Looks like
Here,
she's
yes.
frozen.
All right.
Yes.
Let's see here. So for the land acknowledgement statement, I'll go ahead and read that. The City of Albany recognizes that we occupy the land originally protected by the Confederate villages of Lisson. We acknowledge the genocide that took place on these lands and must make strides to repay the moral debt that is owed to this indigenous people, specifically the Ohlone tribe. We thank them for their contributions, which have transformed our community and will continue to bring forth growth and unity. The City of Albany commits to sustaining ongoing relationships with the tribe and together build a better future for all that now makes this their home.
Great. And looks like Member Goodman is here as well. All right, we are going to move over to agenda item number 2, which is approval of minutes. This is from the December 13th meeting. And Keenan, if you could go ahead and take us through that.
Sure. Chair Gatch?
Yes.
Member Black?
Yes.
Member Goodman?
Yes.
Member Samatsky?
Yes.
And Member Raxel?
Yes.
I think I missed Member Brakeman?
Yes.
Okay.
Great. The minutes are approved, which brings us to agenda item number 3. This is for public comment, and this is for anyone that wishes to address the committee on an item that is not on the agenda. Keenan, do we have anyone in line for public comment tonight?
There is no public comments.
Okay. Then we will move over to agenda item number 4, which is announcements from staff and committee. Do we have any committee announcements?
No.
No? Member
I do.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I happened to watch a recording of the Economic Development Committee last, I think they met last Thursday, and one of their agenda items was to firm up their subcommittees, which they did. And among the subcommittees that they have is one for public art. And they selected 2 people, Deirdre Green and Jennifer Hanson Romero, to be on their subcommittee, and they expressed an interest in working with the Arts Committee on whatever their initiatives are or on developing initiatives. And they didn't have anything in particular in mind. So I felt that we should be sure to set up a meeting with them and find out what their particular interests are, and to come up with some concrete things that we can do to work with them. We haven't been approached by them As far as I know, maybe you have, Chair Gotch. But that's, I think that's on our list. It's within our work plan parameters to work with them. So I don't know what the, I suppose maybe what we could do is try to agendize something for next time and invite them to come and we can discuss at a public meeting.
Yeah, that sounds right. I think Robbie was previously liaising with them, but I don't. But he's no longer on the committee, so
Right.
we would need someone from the community to work with them.
I think I had expressed some interest in doing that.
Great. Do we have any staff announcements?
No staff announcements, but I do want to just remind for the approval of minutes, we do have to make a motion for that. There needs to be a first and second before we approve it. So we may have to do that again.
Okay, let's rewind. I mean, it's 2022. It's the time for rewinding, right? Send it all the way back.
Okay.
Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the December meeting.
I second.
Great. Keenan, looks like we can go to vote.
Sure. All right. Chair Gatch?
Yes.
Member Black?
Yes.
Member Brigman?
Yes.
Member Goodman?
Yes.
Member Samatsky?
Yes.
And Member Raxel?
Yes.
All right.
All right, we are approved. Are there any additional announcements at this time?
Nope.
Okay, then we will move to agenda item number 5, which is presentations. I don't think we're slated for any presentations. No.
Presentations.
Okay, so we're going to move right past number 5 and into the meat of our meeting. This is agenda item number 6, discussion of possible action on matters related to the following items. And I'll go ahead and I'll read through each of the items and then we'll tackle them one at a time. 6.1 is election of officers for the committee to nominate and elect a chair and a vice chair. 6.2 is Poet Laureate. 6.3 is Sculpture Loan Program. 6.4 is the Community Center Foyer Art Gallery. And 6.5 is the Albany Creative Justice Art Project. So we will begin with 6.1, which is election of chair and vice chair. Who wants to be it for 2022?
Don't you want to do it again, Erin?
Yeah, I want you to do it again.
Me too.
I think you're just really an excellent chairperson. I really do. You have a good rapport with everyone. You have a background in what you're talking about. You're doing an excellent job.
Thank you. I'm also really susceptible to flattery. So
Terrific. I agree with everything she said.
Yes, I agree.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that confidence. In all seriousness, if someone else would like to step forward and give it a try, I absolutely encourage it. If not, I would do it again. So
Great.
Great.
do we need a motion then? What's the form?
So we
process?
do need a, yes, someone does need to nominate someone, no.
I nominate Erin to be our fearless leader once again this year.
I second.
All right, then, Keenan, do we have any, do we have any additional nominations? You can also nominate yourself if you
Don't all rush forward at once.
if there's
Well, if there is no other nominations, we will just take a vote from the committee and we'll go from there. Chair Gatch.
abstain.
Member Black?
Yes.
Member Brigman,
Yes.
Member Goodman,
Yes.
Member Samatsky,
Yes.
and Member Raxel.
Yes.
All right. So I think now we have to move on to the vice chair position.
I nominate Sarah.
Oh,
You just,
you guys know I
Thank you,
haven't been doing
Sarah.
a good job.
you have. Keep going.
I second the nomination.
I hope that I can work more with you this year. I really do. I feel like I haven't done anything.
We need to be more proactive about that for sure.
We really do. I feel like I'm not connected enough. And so maybe I should talk to you more often and we can get.
That sounds great. I'm absolutely up for that.
And in case we pull off the 25th Amendment among the committee, we need someone to step in, right?
Right.
So
Are
if
there
there's no
any
other
other?
nominations, we'll have to take a vote for the vice chair on Samatsky. So for Chair Gatch,
Yes.
Member Black,
Yes.
Member Brigman,
Yes.
Member Goodman,
Yes.
Member Samatsky,
Abstain.
and Member Raxel.
Yes.
All right.
All right. We have our prom king and queen for 2022.
Woo. Now we need a prom.
That moves us to item 6.2 on the agenda, Poet Laureate. Over to you, Peter.
Yes, thank you. So the call for submissions for people who would like to be considered to be Poet Laureate is, I guess it's up on the city website. And it's under our, Keenan, are you able to put it up there to show people?
Yeah, I'll put it on the screen for you.
Officially nominations or the applications opened on January 20th and they close on March 31st. So that has been done. And Member Bergman, I believe you expressed interest in working.
Yeah.
on this. So I'll contact you and then maybe we can discuss about what things we have to do, assuming that we get some applications. After they're all in, we have to have a selection committee to go through them, and you and I could maybe figure out how to proceed with that, how to ask people and get it organized and how it's going to proceed. And then once the poet is on board, we'll have to figure out how to, work with the city to get the contract and all that other stuff. So there's some stuff that we can do between now and the time the applications actually close. But just to let you know, it's up there, and click on that spot, you come to you get the application itself. Okay, so that's where we are.
Yeah, I like the economy of, no more than 300 words, no more than 500 words. If you don't, you really have to encourage people not to, to be succinct.
Short poems, not epics. No John Milton. So
I am curious about one thing. Are spoken word artists poets?
I think so. I mean, in this day and age, you have poetry slams, and those are like performance art in a way. The poem is.
Yeah, it's kind of an in-between thing. And I'm wondering, I'm not saying I know a spoken word artist that's trying to do it, but if they were, could they submit a video or a recording of their work?
Yeah, that's in the application. People are free to submit YouTube recordings, showing them speaking in public. I mean, that's obviously a really good skill for a public poet to have, is to, ability to connect with an audience in public. I'm not sure what the definition of a spoken word artist is. So I guess
Well, definitely the poetry slams and stuff that is spoken word, and I'm not sure where other kinds of spoken poetry come in.
I mean, I think poets,
fuzzy thing for me.
poets think of themselves as poets, I think, and it's pretty open. I don't see any reason to, make it formal. It's kind of like maybe you know a poet when you see one.
Okay, all right.
But if maybe Kina, if you wouldn't mind sending the website link around to everyone, and if everyone could feed that website link out to anyone or any organization you think might have interest in it, we'll try and rustle up some interest also, and maybe in the media, getting the word out, saying that we're looking for someone, and every little bit helps. I suspect most poets in the area will find out about it, but I'd still like to make sure we don't miss anyone.
Something, because Albany Village, there are probably some of the some graduate students in. I was in Spanish and Portuguese at Berkeley, and a number of our graduate students are or were poets who write in Spanish. So how would that, I don't know if they would apply, because some of them are published in Mexico or,
Well, I think one of the requirements is that they do write in English.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, it would, if someone were to approach us creatively and say, well, I'm a Spanish poet, but I have this, person here who translates all my stuff, I imagine we would consider that. I mean, I think we can be open to that, particularly since we're likely to have a shortage of applications. So I think we should be kind of generous in our, acceptance.
Good.
Or at least we are prepared, though, to not have a poet laureate if no one suitable comes along. I mean, so we don't have to find anyone.
That just that hadn't occurred to me until now. I thought, I know a bunch of poets. I don't know how many of them live in Albany. But some of them.
I mean, it's a very interesting idea. If there's some way that they could make sure their work is, provided to the city in English, that would, I think that'd be quite acceptable.
Yeah, and some of them do translate, or anyway. I have to think about that, because I don't know where all of them live, but
yeah. Well, anyway, if you could send the word out. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else on that agenda item, Peter?
No.
So we go to questions then from the public, or public comment, if we have any public comment.
We do have one public comment, yes.
Okay, so just as a reminder to the member of the public coming in, it's 2 minutes for public comment specific to this agenda item, the Poet Laureate. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. Happy New Year. So I was wondering, the Poet Laureate program, is that a paid position for somebody, or is it kind of volunteer work? Or does that person, get paid $100,000 a year?
That's right.
I'm glad someone's laughing. Oh man, this is a good start. Hey, so that's my question, and I was just wondering if possibly you could reach out to any Albany High School students. I just found out that potentially there's an ice skater artist who's going to be representing the United States in the Olympics. So
That's
I was just
right.
wondering, we have some talented, very talented high school students. So maybe we could reach out and offer this program to high school students. It could be good for their college resume. Thanks for your time.
Ooh.
Chair Gotcha, am I allowed to answer that question?
Yes, please.
Yes, there is a stipend of the first year is $1,000, and the second year is subject to the donors or the Albany Community Foundation wants to be sure that the program is operating to the benefit of the city before they commit to providing the second year's $1,000 stipend. So right now, the program is funded by the Albany Community Foundation.
Great. Thanks. Thanks for the clarification. So that brings it back to the committee. If there's any final discussion amongst the committee, any motions at this time? And it doesn't look like there are. So we will move to, where are we? Agenda item number 6.3 is the sculpture loan program. So I think that goes over to you, Member Black.
It does indeed. So the big news is in December, we got our platforms put in. So we have two, one on Masonic and Solano and one on Masonic and Washington. So we are ready to go. We are ready to tell the artists. The only thing that is holding us up is that we do not have, I believe, clearance from the city council about the contract. It was supposed to go into the consent calendar in December 20th. It did not. I don't know if it went January, whatever the first meeting in January was, but I never got any information on that. I couldn't find it. So I'm assuming we are still waiting for that.
Cheryl, is there any way we can contact the city council and ask them just to do that, like first thing or something?
Keenan is supposed to do that.
Oh, okay. All right.
His job.
And we are bringing it to the council as well. And we should be doing that within this next month. But I will definitely give you guys more.
Keenan, I don't mean to interrupt you, but it's got to be done as soon as the next council meeting. This is enough already. We have been at this for 3 years. We finally got the platforms. We need the contract. These people have been very patient with us. So I would like it at the next council meeting, please. Do the best you can.
Yeah, and I'll keep you guys updated as soon as we get that information in. But yes, I'll get you guys the information as soon as we get that.
Please put the pressure where it needs to be put. Thank you.
Can I just ask a clarifying question? Is it just about, are we looking for approval of the contract from city council, or are we looking for the contract to cross the lawyer's, city attorney's desk?
It should have already done that. It should be at council and approval. It was supposed to be on the consent calendar, December 20th. It didn't go.
So we're just looking for final approval.
We just
From
need
city
to
council.
from city council. Yes.
Any other questions from committee members?
No.
No.
Oh, the artists that we're still working with, same artists, Kiko Nelson and Jeff Downing. They've been very patient with us.
They really have.
We've already, we had a third one, but we lost him. So there you go.
Yeah, and especially when it would take like 3 minutes.
Thank you,
on
Sarah.
the city calendar.
Less than that.
All right, if we have no other questions from committee members, then we can go to public comment, if there's public comment.
Hi,
There's one public comment.
Yeah, hi, good evening, Jeremiah. Yeah, I agree for sure. um, with you, Smosky. It's been 3 years. Hey, so I was wondering, can you just remind the public where the locations were exactly again? Possibly if you have like pictures, maybe you could put up. I know you mentioned Solano, and I was just wondering if you had mentioned anything on the Albany Greenway.
It is
But if you could,
Greenway, you asshole.
what did you call me?
Nothing. Sorry.
No, you called me an asshole.
Sorry. I apologize. We've been through this many times.
No. You do not humiliate me in public, and you do not call me those names in public. There's things called the Robin. I'm reporting this to City Council.
What?
Okay.
All right. I apologize to the committee. I lost my temper.
Keenan, do we have any other public comment?
We do not know.
In that case, it's going to come back to committee for discussion if there's any additional discussion. And if there's no additional discussion, then we are going to move on. Agenda item 6.4 is the Community Center Foyer Art Gallery. And Cheryl, Member Black, that's also back to you.
Yes. We have our last signed artist starting on March 20th is her opening. So Moonjing Pinking is putting up her show then when the other show, Linda Wong's show, comes down. Then as of her show comes down on the 13th of July. So at that point, we need to have a new schedule of artists. So we're going to choose 6, 2 for the remainder of this year because of the pandemic and the way it had to go. We had to cancel for a couple of shows and put them back. So we're going to choose 6 sets of artists, 2 for this year, 4 for the following year. So we will be back on our regular schedule. So what people need to start doing is beating the bushes to find out, to get us artists to apply. They need to apply by the last week in March so we can have April to choose our shows. So that is the schedule we have, Liam and I set up. I'm not exactly sure how we're going to work this. In the past, we have always looked at the work at the meeting. So, and we could physically see the work at the meeting. So we will have to figure out a way how to do this so we can look at the work and decide what we are most interested in having for our next 6 shows. That's how it's supposed to work.
I have a question.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry, go ahead.
Do these artists have to live in Albany?
No, they do not. But we want them in the area, but they don't have to live
In
in
the area, okay. Because I know some who live in El Cerrito.
We've had people from El Cerrito. We've had people as far from Ren. We've had people come from San Jose.
Oh, okay.
So we're pretty open about that, but we want them in the area.
Oh, great. Thank you.
How this works is they submit, we look at the work, and then I go to the studios to make sure that the work is as it was represented, and then we can move on with setting up the schedule.
Cheryl, is there any opportunity for 3-dimensional artists to exhibit, or it's all 2-dimensional?
the problem with three-dimensional, I mean, I love the idea of three-dimensional, but we don't have any real way of controlling that because
Projecting them, yeah.
we have no way of projecting. There isn't a guard, and so that is really a hard thing to do. We had an artist, well, we had two. We had the woman who did the quilts, which was not as protected as, and I was a nervous wreck the whole time, but it was a great show and she loved it and she was happy with it. We had another woman who had partial three-dimensional, but they were up much higher and they kind of related to her two-dimensional things. So that worked out okay too. So it's a really tricky kind of thing because we don't have a guard and there's not necessarily someone there all the time.
Or there aren't any enclosed cases that
we don't have any enclosed cases that we could put. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Something to think about. It might be a really interesting addition.
It might be. We could look at cases and see if we can expand there, if we can afford to do that. I'm not exactly sure how that would work, but we could give it a good look-see.
Okay.
Cheryl, how is the work submitted for selection? Like when you say that we'll need to look at the work, are we talking about physical pieces? Are we talking about online portfolios?
In the past, they've been physical pieces. They've been either they've been mostly photographs or, mostly photographs of the pieces kind of thing.
And have you already received submissions or do you have to put a call out still for submissions?
We were kind of, well, a call out has gone out in Albany, in the newsletter, that kind of thing. But then it was thought that we would wait till January and really do a push. And in the past, we've made flyers and I've put them all over town. I've gone all over the places to galleries and things and places that I know, studios that have work and are interested in submitting. So that's how we do it. If you have suggestions, I am certainly open to any approach because I always get very nervous and in the end, we usually get enough that we have a reasonable amount of pieces to choose from.
I think most places at this point, most galleries or exhibition venues are taking digital submissions and particularly with COVID as well, and plus the cost to the artist of creating physical submissions. There's the additional financial burden. So if we could switch, there's a number of different platforms that can be used, even as simple as something as simple as Google Gmail submissions or Google submissions would be a way to have artists submit images of their work. And then that would be really easy to share with the members of the committee in advance of a meeting so that we can come to the meeting. And that way, if we are having a discussion as an agenda item and we're cycling through artists, that there's already some familiarity among the committee members so that when we're looking at it, we might already have some sense of who we're interested in.
Absolutely. Yes. We have had in the past, and I'm not exactly sure how Liam did it, sent out the work for people so people could see it ahead of time before you came and then you actually call things. But I'm sure we can do this. Keenan?
I'm here to help.
Member Goodman?
Attaboy. Thanks.
I have no problem looking at digital art to evaluate the work. I would hope that they would give the dimensions so we know roughly what size people are looking at. But Chair Gotch, do you know, are there websites that allow artists to put up portfolios so that when they're presented, they appear in a rather consistent fashion, so that we're not looking at these are like 3 on a page, these are 6 on a page, you have to blow them up, some way that would be, so it'd be kind of like a level playing field. Everyone's portfolio would be given the same, quality of presentation. There must be some sites like that that artists use.
Well, usually what happens is there's kind of two ways that this happens. Either the artists have created their own portfolio website, and there are many platforms that are already set up. Everything from WordPress to Wix to Weebly to Squarespace. There's a number of different ones. And then so sometimes the artist is actually just submitting a link to their website or to specific works on their website. But in other cases, whatever the organization is that's curating the work, they will go through another website. I don't know, like off the top of my head, I know there's one called Submittable, where everything is kind of uniform. But even in those instances, the irony of trying to unify it is such that every artist ends up having to recreate their documentation to suit it to the needs of whatever curating body is asking for it. So some are going to ask for high resolution images, some are going to ask for low resolution images, some are going to ask them to be formatted in a particular way or a particular file. Some want you to already organize them all in a PDF and submit a PDF, whereas others are going to ask for JPEGs. So as a working artist that goes through this process, it is tremendously annoying. Mm-hmm. However, it is also a real blessing in that the previous way that you would do this was you would create a slide carousel, and you would send a slide carousel, and everyone would sit in the dark and look at your slides together. So the digital submissions is definitely progress from where it has been in the past. But I think as much as you want to control it and as much as you want to create a uniform situation, artists are often going to take liberties in terms of how they present the work or how they show the work. And it's on a professional level, the onus is often placed on the artist to produce their best documentation and to make a kind of convincing presentation of their work through that format.
It's really true. Even in high school, when you take AP Art, that they have to submit it digitally, but it really depends on how they can photograph it. It's very difficult. So you have to be aware that you're looking at photographs made by artists who have various levels of ability that way.
Yeah, it also it privileges artists who are emphasizing form over content. Yeah. Artists that have a strong conceptual premise for their work. It may not immediately communicate in a single image or in documentation in that way, in which case artists might then create a slide that includes an image of the work with some text describing the work, along with detail photos of the work or the work from different angles or at different points in time or duration. So at that point, it really does fall on the artist to produce documentation that's going to make it work. And Member Szymanski is absolutely right. For high school students submitting art portfolios, for college students submitting art portfolios, this is all done digitally and has been for many years at this point, well over a decade. So,
well, are there at least guidelines that can be given so that people don't?
Yes,
absolutely.
Like up to 10 works, you must have a statement. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then maybe it's on us to take that stuff and at least organize it away for all the committee members so they can evaluate it.
The absolute easiest way is to tell artists, exactly like you said, 10 works, short descriptions for each work that give title, year, medium, dimensions, and that those works should be numbered in the order that we're meant to view them. And those are submitted either as JPEGs along with a slide list or as a PDF. That's like the bare bones way to do it, and then everything could be done through folders in like Google Drive.
Right,
would be
right.
like a really scaled down
Yeah.
way, where we're requiring the same number of images from each person, and they're producing those images for us.
Okay.
Hey, thank you.
Do we have any other questions about this agenda item before we open it up to public comment? Okay, do we have any public comment?
We do have one public comment, yes.
Okay, bear in mind, public comment is restricted specifically to this agenda item.
Yeah, hi. So, sculpture loan program. Could someone please give me a location of these sculptures, whether it's on Solano or the Albany Greenway?
Sorry, can I interrupt? But I'll give you back your time, Jeremiah.
Sure.
The sculpture loan program is located on the Albany Greenway. We have two pads. One is at the Dartmouth Circle, which is essentially Dartmouth and Masonic. And the second one, I believe, is Masonic and Solano. Is that correct?
We don't have one on Dartmouth. We haven't done that one because that was for a different sculpture. We're doing the two small sculptures, one on Masonic and Solano and one on Masonic and Washington.
And now, Jeremiah, hopefully that answers that question. And
so, yeah, so
any remaining time should be for this specific agenda item if we could.
Yeah, that'd be great. So these two sculptures, what are they? Is one of them that meet me on the corner thing?
No, sorry. I need to interrupt again. We're unfortunately we're on the next agenda item. We're on the Community Center Foyer Art Gallery. So
I'm sorry, you had sculpture loan program still up there. That's all. Like when you open up public comment, you still have sculpture loan program still on the screen.
Oh, I think that was a mistake from staff then. We have been discussing
I've been cut off this meeting earlier after my first public comment. Somebody, whoever's in charge of this meeting, just kicked me off. I had to re-sign on. There's been a lot of mistakes this meeting. I'm just a public trying to make public comment.
Sure.
It's been very difficult, and I've been harassed. And this is the arts committee. This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be light, a really light meeting.
I want to allow the public comment. I sincerely do.
I'm sorry. So what agenda item is this, please?
This is Community Center Art Gallery, Foyer Art Gallery.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's one of my favorite things. We do that, like every month or every couple months. I hope we find a new artist. One thing is, though, I don't like the drinking the alcohol wine thing going on. That's one thing I don't like is everybody drinking wine. It's not cool because people drive home from the event and there's no regulations on people, not drinking and driving. I think it would be great if this was a sober event and was more kid friendly and people friendly, and you didn't, because people have alcohol problems. And you're just encouraging people to drink alcohol. Or I don't know if it's just try to get people drunk to buy art, but I just don't think the whole alcohol thing is acceptable in our library/recreation center. Drinking has nothing to do with recreation. That's for the bars and for alcoholics. I understand it's a social event, but it's about art. It's not about alcohol. So if you could please make this a sober event in the future, maybe offer a fruit punch for the kids. Because I don't see any beverages offered for anybody else, just wine, So that's my thing. I think there should be a lot more sober events in Albany, So maybe we could start with this one, please. Thanks.
Thank you, Jeremiah. Do we have any additional public comments?
No additional public comments.
Okay, so it comes back to the committee for discussion on any possible action items or any follow-up discussion.
I would just like to tell Cheryl that I I have the artwork from the next artist, and I will do the postcard as previous.
Thanks, Peter.
Right.
You'll let me know when it's ready.
Well, I will, yeah, and I'll do the normal thing. I'll confirm the dates and show you and the artist a proof so that you can make sure there aren't any mistakes in it.
Thanks very much.
All right. If there is no further discussion, we will move over to agenda item 6.5. Agenda item 6.5 is the Albany Creative Justice Art Project. And I don't have much of an update for that. What I will say is, where are we at? Right now, to the best of my knowledge, we are 1 month away from the deadline for submissions for that project. Keenan has told me that so far we have one submission. This is not altogether surprising for these things. Typically, the submissions for a project of the scale will come in at the last minute. If we don't have a sufficient number of submissions, or more specifically, if we don't have submissions that as a committee we feel strongly about, then we have the option to extend the deadline. In the meantime, I think what is most important is to increase getting the word out. So I have a request from the committee, which is if everyone on the committee wouldn't mind passing on the link to the Albany Creative Justice Art Project call. If you can pass it on to just 3 people or organizations that you think might be interested. And to date, in the work that I was previously doing with Liam, we were also putting the word out on a number of different lists that artists are looking at for public works. So I am still hopeful that that artists are going to continue to look at that call, and that call will circulate. Keenan and I are yet to have a meeting to pick up on where Liam and I left off and to kind of check in. But Keenan, you and I should figure out a good time. And Member Szymanski, I understand that you want to work on this as well. So
Yes.
so it would be great to have a meeting of the minds and figure out how we can really attract attention to the call and get some good proposals in.
Great.
Keenan, do you have anything to add to that?
No, but yeah, I do agree that we should meet to discuss this going forward.
Do we have any other questions from committee members? All right, if there's no questions from committee members, do we have public comment?
Yes, we do. We have one public comment.
All right, and again, just as a reminder, this is public comment specific to the Albany Creative Justice Art Project.
Yeah, thank you. So this kind of seems like maybe the social justice could have been involved or still can be. Our meeting was canceled again this month, so we still don't get to have a meeting. It's kind of hard to do things without meetings, but I'll do what I can to spread the word on this. I think maybe some social justice artwork could be involved. So if there's not enough submissions, or applicants, maybe you could continue it, and maybe at least let me get a chance to present this during a social economic justice meeting, during presentations, to let the public know, or maybe again in the Albany High School. That's about it. Thanks for your time, everybody.
Okay. Thank you, Jeremiah. And yes, just to respond to that real quickly, the whole focus of that project is social justice art project. So absolutely, if you have people in mind to share it with, share it, and yeah, please spread the word.
Thank you very much.
Do we have any other public comment, Keenan?
No, we do not.
Do we have any additional discussion among committee members? All right. Then we will move to.
Sorry, Chair, got you. One question. The people who are being asked to submit, they can be anywhere. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, and we're gonna move to agenda item number 7. That got us through all of the discussion items. Agenda item number 7 is future agenda items, and Peter, you mentioned earlier about the Economic Development Committee possibly being an agenda item.
Yes, I think maybe if Keenan could contact the liaison for that committee and figure out what might be the best way for these two committees to have some kind of discussion. I would suggest that for our next meeting, we invite the two members of the subcommittee on their side to come over and talk to the Arts Committee and give us some sort of presentation as to what their vision is and what they might want from the Arts Committee. And for our part, we could agree to do the same thing, to their committee month after, and then figure out a way for the subcommittees to work together. So if Keenan, maybe you could, if the committee approves, we could arrange that.
That sounds good to me.
Good idea.
Do we have any other future agenda items?
We're probably going to need to talk about the, hopefully, sculpture loan moving on there. And the Arts Committee, we will, again, need to emphasize, we will probably need artist submissions.
And just as a reminder to other committee members, if you are working on a subcommittee, even if you don't have a motion to discuss, if you want to bring an update on the work that you've been doing, if you want to bring a discussion and get input from other committee members, you can also always add that to an agenda item for the future. So we have a whole list of things on the work plan to continue working on. So please bring those items to the bring those items to the committee.
Thank you.
If we have no other future agenda items, that brings us to the end of the committee meeting. Did that somehow happen in an hour, or is my clock wrong? The next,
very efficient.
The next meeting is Monday, February 14th, Valentine's Day. What an amazing date that'll be. 7 p.m. Wear your roses and bring your sweets, I guess. That brings our meeting, that adjourns our meeting for tonight. So thank you, everyone, and I'll see you in a month.
Okay, thanks.